Hey friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Oleg. This is one and only Mr. Bond. We do indeed love watches. In today's video, we're going to do a full review of Seiko Mini Turtle SRPC35 is the reference of this watch. I borrowed this watch from a friend of mine, a local subscriber, Chris. A shout out and a huge thank you to Chris for lending another one of his awesome watches. We really do appreciate it. Now, let's get started with the review. It has a diameter of 42 millimeters, so from this point to this point, but of course excluding the crown. It's only 43 millimeters from one leg to another, so from this point to this point, and it has first female links, so it's a true 43 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug width, and only 13 millimeters thick. As it is a tradition by now, here's the watch next to a Seiko SKX. I think this actually is a pretty good size comparison, since both watches have a 42 millimeter case diameter. SKX has slightly over 42 millimeters, I think it's 42.5 millimeters, to the Mini Turtle at 42 millimeters. As you can see, they look very similar. I think SKX does look larger because of that longer lug-to-lug distance. So the Mini Turtle, just to remind you, has 43 millimeter lug-to-lug distance, and the SKX has about 45.5 millimeters one lug to another. On the cushions, the size difference is not that apparent, but I think on the wrist, the Mini Turtle does wear smaller. Thickness-wise, I think both watches are very similar in thickness, although the Mini Turtle is about half a millimeter thinner. Here's how it wears on my 7.5 inches wrist. I quite like this fit, although I have to admit, for my personal preference, I think it wears a little bit too small. Don't get me wrong, 42 millimeters is a great size for a diver watch. Even 40 millimeters is a great size in my opinion and for my preference. However, the diameter is only half of the story. The other half is of course lug-to-lug distance. As far as this watch goes, it appears a little bit too small for my wrist. I think I would go for the full-size Turtle. However, for anyone with medium to smaller size wrists, especially people with smaller size wrists, I think we'll find this watch very comfortable and super easy to wear. I'm really glad that this watch actually exists because a lot of the divers on the market right now are big oversized watches. So having something like this is an excellent addition to the Seiko lineup. The comfort on the wrist overall is exceptional. The watch has enough heft for you to feel it on the wrist, 160 grams, but not too much where it becomes kind of jarring and overwhelming. Overall, really nice and comfortable watch, although admittedly for me personally, a little bit too small because of that lug-to-lug distance. 316L stainless steel case and bracelet. The finish on the case is actually really nice. It has a nice brushing that's alternated with a polished finish. Nice transition there, and overall the case shape is quite attractive. As you can see, the crown is at the 3 o'clock position. It's an unsigned crown. Come on, Seiko, you can do a signed crown for watching this price category. No crown guards, thus making this crown super easy to operate. First position, hand winding. Second position, date change. Third position, setting the time. As you can see, the watch does have a hackable movement. That's a big upgrade over the Seiko SKX. So the movement in this watch is the 4R35 automatic movement. It's pretty much the same movement as the Seiko NH35, and we know these movements by now by heart. 24 joules beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour, has 41 hours of power reserve, as I pointed out, does have hacking, and this one has a date complication. Speaking of the date complication, this Cyclops over the date. At first I thought I would hate it. I thought that's gonna look way out of place, looking at the pictures, looking at some videos online. However, seeing it in person, I actually quite like it. It's very surprising to me, but I do like it. It's different enough not to be a Rolex clone, yet it is quite helpful. Without that Cyclops, the date window would seem a little smaller. So for those people who have bad eyesight, especially older people, I think this is a great addition. Now, if you don't like it, I think you can just replace the crystal or take that Cyclops off if you really want to. A screw down case back with the Tsunami Wave, that Seiko Wave, very iconic for Seiko introductory level divers. Quite like this one, and of course that helps with the water resistance. Together with the screw down crown and the screw down case back, the watch has 200 meters of water resistance. But it's not just 200 meters of water resistance, it's ISO certified 200 meters of water resistance. That's why you see Divers 200 written on the dial. So you can really take this watch diving if you really choose to. Since it's a proper diver watch, of course it has a diver style bezel, 120 click unidirectional bezel, smooth as butter. I really love bezel action on introductory level Seiko divers. They're just so nice and smooth. This one does have a little bit more resistance than the Seiko SKX, so here's what this one sounds like. And it does line up properly, no backplay whatsoever, so that's really nice. And here's the Seiko SKX. Also really love this bezel action. This sounds very old school, a little bit too ratchety, versus this sounds more smooth or smoother and just more pleasant to turn. Really love this bezel action. It has aluminum bezel insert and no sapphire crystal. This one does have Seiko's proprietary Hardlex crystal. It's okay, I guess. I've had my SKX for many years now and I haven't scratched it yet, so I think these Hardlex crystals are tough enough. And the good thing about them is that it's very easy to source them, so if you really scratch yours up, you can easily replace it. Now, I'm not making excuses for Seiko. Still, they should put a sapphire crystal, but they didn't. So here we are. The dial looks like it has applied indices. However, those aren't applied. Those are painted on. They just have a lot of layers of lume. The indices style overall is very interesting. They have these cool shapes, look like gravestones to me. And a brushed finished set of hands. The set of hands and the indices have plenty of lume. Here's a lume shot for you. It looks great. It lasts for a really long time. Really, I don't have to talk about Seiko lume. You already know how great it is. As far as the writing on the dial, it's not jarring, it just has Seiko written closer to the 12 o'clock position. Then we have Prospex logo, automatic, and Divers 200 meters written closer to the 6 o'clock position. It also has a minutes chapter ring, and again, it's not misaligned, so well done Seiko. I'm not even sure if this is a real Seiko or not. The bracelet, pretty good. Bracelet integration is alright. You can see a little bit of play here. Same thing on this side. And also the finish on the bracelet, it's just okay. Has brushed finish on top and polished finish on the sides. Per style pins, 4 micro adjustments, 2 pushers for the release, and of course it has pressed metal clasp. It's an introductory level Seiko diver, so of course it has a pressed metal clasp. Overall, the quality of the bracelet is not too bad. It's actually a step up over the Seiko SKX. And get this, it has a divers extension. So the divers extension is actually located on this side. You unhook it as such, and there you go. You can put this watch over a diver's suit. Pretty cool, especially for a watch in this price category. Now, speaking of the price of this watch, they're kind of all over the place. I've seen some for as low as $250 US. I will leave a link to the cheapest one I could find in the description below, but I would suggest you do a little bit of price hunting and price comparison and find the best deal possible, because paying $400, $500, that's I think the retail price for these watches, is way too much. You can find them for half that if you look hard enough. So that's the review of the Seiko Mini Turtle. A few key takeaways for me personally. Number one, the watch does wear way smaller than 42mm diameter would suggest. I think this one wears closer to about 40, somewhere around there. Number two, the Cyclops on the date didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. In fact, I kind of like it, so that was a surprising part. And number three, the finish of the case was pretty good. Again, I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I mean, it's not fantastic, but it's all right. So should you buy one? If you can find one for under $300, maybe for around $280, $250, I think this is a pretty good buy, especially if you have a smaller wrist. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We release new videos every week. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this Seiko Mini Turtle. Do you prefer the regular size turtle? Do you prefer the Mini Turtle? Do you prefer a whale? Leave all those thoughts below. I always enjoy reading your comments. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing my Tudor Black Bay 58, another small diver watch. I did a full review of this watch. That video can be found on the YouTube channel. I will also leave it linked in the description below. Also in the description below, there are a couple of other links. The first link is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. The second link is a link to bondnativestraps.com if you're looking for a great quality native strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time. Buying one of these native straps is a great way to do so. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. So when I want you to come and film with me, you don't want to. But if I'm working, you want cuddles right away. What's that all about, dog? Come on. Come on. Come on. Good boy. Always a good boy. Okay, come. Come on.